and Zach Tyndall shows parcel 57. Item number 5 is yet another drawing. This is a little bit more clear, showing parcel 57. So all I'm trying to show and illustrate here is we have parcel 57.
Are they all the exact same dimensions?
They are all the exact same dimensions.
Got it.
Okay. And to keep in mind, and I don't mind asking Emily a couple of questions here, if she'll bear with me.
You're saying all the entities agree that that's.
Yes, all those drawings agree that that's parcel 57. That's what I'm trying to present. So what I have here next is the contract. Emily and Mark prepared this contract, and this is a lot of information, and I've tried to highlight the terms of the contract. This is the land disposition agreement, the LDA, you're going to hear us call it, for parcel 57. Again, this has taken 3 or 4 years to get to this point that I'm showing tonight. So what's of concern here is that parcel 57 is clearly defined on the plat. Parcel 57 is clearly shown on the map. If you'll assume that these are correct, that's parcel 57. These are the terms of the contract. In the terms of the contract, you'll see it easily on the front page. Parcel 57 is 9.35 acres. We are required, and it's shown on the parcel, on the drawing number 1, a 75-foot setback on the north property line. So we reserve for landscaping, stormwater management, parking, and other uses. If you'll look further into the contract, it also makes mention of a
refer them to a particular section.
Yeah. So it's kind of goes throughout there. It's a common thread. There is a section of land that we have agreed to relinquish rights to for the town to construct their access road. Okay. And that's the only reference, only reference to any adjustment. Emily, can you, and Mark, can you?
I'm not gonna, this is not a proper forum for this discussion. And
Mark,
I'm not,
okay, now
I
I'll ask
don't-
Mark.
I
I'll
really
ask
don't-
Mark then if you're not gonna answer.
Okay, I'm not.
You drafted the contract, I'm just asking the question.
Okay.
So with that said, Mark, I have the entire contract here. You were privy to that. We took 4 months to get through this contract. Are there any other references in the contract to any other relinquishing of property lines other than the access road, which I'll clearly show you in a few minutes? There's no reference within the contract of any relinquishing of rights. And the only reason I'm going through all this tonight, folks, is because I need to get to you, but if I can't agree on the parcel, then I can't get to you, because I can't finish the design.
Keep going on with the presentation.
I have the entire contract here if you want.
Are you guys in agreement with the access road size?
Yes,
and
yeah.
layout? Town and you are?
At the beginning, we were allowed to communicate with Davis Winfordell, the town's attorney, but now we're not allowed to communicate, which is dysfunctional in that case, because we're responsible for the traffic study and the traffic engineering, which is for the town's access road, but we can't communicate with the town's engineer to communicate that. We're working with State Highway Administration to get your access road fixed or designed, but we can't communicate with the town's attorney, which is completely dysfunctional in my opinion.
But you guys are in agreement with the size,
Yes.
dimensions?
Yes.
Okay.
I actually think, this is so not a right forum for this, but if you, this is really not the right forum.
Okay.
And this is not an issue for the planning commission, and I don't think it's inappropriate.
Well, I can't get a meeting with the mayor and you, so I don't have any other forum to come to. So I apologize to you that you don't approve of this.
I respectfully disagree.
4 months worth of trying to get a meeting? So I know you're not supposed to be, you disagree with the forum on this, Emily, I appreciate that, respect that, but this is our time.
It's a part
So
of your
this
agenda.
is an exhibit of the contract too. And I'm going to show further information here. This plat right here is showing another exhibit to our contract. I hand drew that up. That's my drawing. And I drew that to show buildings number 1 and 2. There seems to be some consternation from the town that we wanted to build a daycare center, which is not legal under the MDE requirements. So we changed it to a 12,000 square foot building and a garden center. This is what we presented to you at the last meeting that we had in January. which again, I was trying to get to preliminary site plan approval. So I'm bringing this to you because this is all I really want to build, but to complete the traffic study and meet with the State Highway Administration, we have to create an entire development plan, just like we had to coordinate when we were allowed to communicate with the engineer. We had to coordinate for the Public Works Building, the skate park, and the existing Herring Parks, so they get the traffic counts to create the traffic study, to create input to the State Highway Administration. Brock will bring the drawings in a few minutes. So yeah, this is an exhibit, but their position is that we've pushed the northern property line. I'm trying to say that we all agree that what parcel 57 is, and the only reference that we have of giving up anything is referred to in her contract that she wrote and Mark reviewed and I signed, is relinquishing lands for the access road, which we total agreement. So I'm now going to go to, and this is where I'm hoping this is constructed.
Can I ask a real quick question while you do this? And this is not meant to be negative, but what is your hopes of coming and presenting this to all of us tonight? So we can kind of wrap it up.
My hope tonight is to get to a consulting approval, which I thought we had done before, because I can't get that. The only thing I'm allowed to do right now is consultation. So we are the developer of this property, and we can't, we believe we've met the threshold of preliminary, but we're not allowed to meet the threshold of preliminary because the mayor won't sign the application as a landholder.
And you have come to us and we have done a concept review plan, correct?
You have done one, but it wasn't clear in the minutes that it was approved. I went back to the planning commission meeting that we went to in January, and there's not a clear motion that you approved the concept. Not that you.
Right, in terms of the concept, they just,
I don't know that
you were
do that.
coming presenting, hey, do you guys like this? I don't think there was gonna be a formal
Right.
vote on the concept
Right.
itself in general.
Right. So what I've handed out here is the town's published guidelines, which I received from Ryan November 18th, 2025. And I've been trying to follow this as Brock has been trying, Design Solutions, Mark Proper. We've been trying to follow this. We have, after 18 attempts from November 18th to January 5th of 26, we've made 18 requests to have what you all refer to as a consultation. And we're full of joy in November of 2025 because we got a great plan. We're going to put this property on, we got a great plan for the town. Contact the planning commission. Well, I did. Ryan sent me this. I'm trying to follow this. This is constructed because these are the town's published comments. And when I'm talking to your mayor and I asked him about these, his comment to me is, oh, I don't read those things. Okay, so I'm trying to follow these guidelines. These are your guidelines, by the way.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
Yes,
Ms. Emily,
yes.
what is your title
I'm just a legal consultant for the town.
for the planning commission, is that correct?
I also do legal consulting for the town itself, for the mayor.
So, how did you get denied the rate of contract instead of Dave Gadd?
So I was hired originally just to do the contract, and I disagree with this categorization. If you actually look at what the defined definition of what is being conveyed is, it says a portion of parcel 57. It literally, even on this, if you look at the first page right here, it says a portion of. And the diagram that was attached that he's relying on was a diagram that he produced, and I trusted was actually what was originally agreed to, and there's other documentation.
Where's the survey for a piece of
And
land?
that's where we
that there was a
can't get to
contract
because we have, the mayor can, this is not the proper form because the mayor really needs to be
with?
addressing
The town
this.
signed a contract, but there was no survey on?
There was,
Yeah,
there was some drawings. It was not necessarily, it wasn't attached, the wrong thing was attached. And that's something we've been working through, and I think he's misrepresenting, but I think that this is not the right forum for this conversation.
Oh, we
That he needs to meet
understand.
with the
I'm glad you
mayor.
brought that up.
Request to only-
I'm glad you brought that up.
What's that?
Can we make a request to only talk about conceptual review?
And I mean, this is not
Oh,
on
you
the
gotta
agenda
have a boundary.
tonight. I feel like this is being, that you're being.
You're on the record already by saying you object to this, Emily.
I object to this. And I don't think this is a proper forum. I
So-
don't think that
so when-
this
when-
body
when-
needs to be hearing
You're
this.
correct. In the contract documents, it says a portion of, because we're relinquishing rights to the access road. We're relinquishing lands, and I have a diagram
Unless
of
and
that.
accept.
So
Portion of, unless
Emily
and
presents
accept.
to us parcel 57, which is clearly shown on this, I don't have copies for everybody, with intended property lines.
This is a
And then
matter
there's
for the
something
mayor
they
to
call it a
discuss.
scrivener's error, which I had to Google it. These are intended property lines. Well, nobody ever shared intended property lines with me.
Who did
And
the
I'm the
survey?
contract body.
Who did the survey?
Well, there hasn't been a survey because we can't agree between the town and ourselves as to what the property, what parcel 57 is. I just gave you 5 exhibits.
So there was a
of parcel-
contract executed with no survey on a piece of
No,
property?
it's a recorded land record, it's called library folio, it's a parcel.
Partial.
Okay.
It's already a recorded parcel of land. I've given you 5 exhibits. The last, the most important one, I think there is Woody Bunnings, which defines parcel 57.
I understand.
So, I mean, when the property line discussion came up, I never heard of an intended property line. I have a contract for parcel 57.
Let me ask you this. What is it that we are being asked to?
I'm asking for concept approval, but I have to go through a certain exercise to see you can actually approve
You're
the
not in a
concept.
position to do that though tonight, right?
Well, you did it before, I'm just wondering.
Well,
Well, let me skip forward then. Let me skip forward if I may.
To that, I mean, I don't think there was a formal approval to the concept.
Okay.
There was, I'm not trying to be tough here. It was 7 of us, you presented something,
Right.
and we said, hey, man, yeah, we really like it.
Okay. So-
I don't
and that's
know
fair.
if we
That's fair.
can
Okay.
physically.
I'm just trying to get through the process. I'm at a Berlin Wall. I can't get past the concept because I can't get a meeting. And I believe honestly, and I'm sorry if I said we're going to say some uncomfortable things, I think there's some information that's not being presented to the council that's coming from us. This is what we proposed, and on March the 9th, at the mayor and city council meeting, the city council voted unanimously to accept this as what the adjustments in the property line are. I'll show you the minutes of the meeting, and I'll show you an email from Jay Durr with all the council members agreeing with it. So I've got to get to this so I can show you the plans. I apologize.
So one more time, and I apologize, the yellow dashed area.
Okay, so item number 1
Mhm.
is we're taking an acre of our land away and relinquishing it to the town. So, and
This is
there's
a gift.
So this is well, that's offensive. We're relinquishing this. They disagree with that. So involuntarily, we're moving this property line south so that when the skate park is built, there will be a proper connection to the trail, an ADA access to the trail.
Is the town saying, no, your property line's really here, we already own that 1.07 acres?
Well, that's the good question, because what I've gotten from the town has been a whole jumbled full of, I don't know what I'm getting from the town. That's why I'm trying to get to this point. So I've gotten intended property lines here. I don't know what these means, because somebody told me, we did this voluntarily. We didn't, and then it got to this, these intended property lines.
Mr. Girls, if I
Yes.
may, this is my concern, and I'm addressing our commission here. I believe if we make a decision on this, that it will then be used later that we're agreeing to certain lot lines and whatever, and I don't
I
think
don't
we
think-
can. I don't
I'm
think
not
we can
asking
do
for that.
He's not asking for it.
I'm just saying, you do that, I believe it can be used at a later date to say that we agree to certain lines. I don't think that's our ability. This sounds like to me that we have a contract that their parties do not agree as to what the contract says, whether it's ambiguous or not, who drafted it. Those are all things for rules of construction for a court or someone to sign. I don't believe it's for us to decide your contract.
I agree.
Palmer,
I agree.
I would, once again, understand your frustration, and I personally don't understand why there isn't better communication between the mayor and refusing to meet with you or have communications, if that in fact is true. But I'm just fearful for us to take any action on this when it's very obvious to me that there's a disagreement as to the contract and what is actually sold.
So in our presentation tonight for the concept site plan, consulting site plan approval, we're assuming these 4 property lines. On March the 9th of 2025, excuse me, it was originally scheduled to discuss these property lines on the February 23rd, 2026 Planning Commission. We had a snowstorm, it was postponed. Somehow the agenda item for the postponed meeting for March the 9th got rid of that agenda item. So we went rogue and we went in under public comments. Jay Nur sent an email after I said, did you all vote on these property line adjustments? So to get to Brock and to get to Scott, I'm trying to illustrate how we got to that point, because we didn't know until 2 or 3 weeks later when we received a letter saying that item number 2 on here was not accepted, where I have in the minutes of the town council meeting, and I have the letter from Jay Nur with all the council members confirming that they adjusted the access road property lines. That's what I have. I mean, I don't know how else to say it.
Dirk, to your point, and for Palmer as well, my feeling towards this is information gathering. Eventually, this is going to come in front of us, and I'm happy to start looking at some stuff now, although this isn't really pertinent to what we're going to look at. I'd like to know more of what he's trying to build and give us information. That way, 6 months from now, 3 months from now, 1 month from now, we're not hit with a giant plan, and we don't like it.
Keep in mind, I have a study period that ends April 20th. So I'm under the gun right now with a massive amount of financial investment in this. I can't get an extension. Mr. Cropper's been asking for an extension since December 29th. The only extension that the town is willing to give us is a 3-month extension with a caveat that we accept the 1 property line adjustment. That's it. I see this
So they're
as,
still negotiating the contract. The contract's signed.
Well, just for clarity, for everybody's sake, the council, and honestly, I wasn't aware that he was saying he wanted what he's categorizing as number 2 when the council considered it, which is not parcel 57. The line is red. The red line is parcel 57. He's asking for additional land. The council has not approved that, and we're moving through that process. So that's not the part of the contract right now. It's not that it won't be in the future, but that he's trying to use this forum that he gets what he's classifying as 2 when he's planned on that land where he has no contractual authority to use.
I have a
that
city council approval of the property line adjustments, plural, 2, along the access road.
You agree with that, Mr. Evans?
The council did approve the adjustments.
They did not approve it on that other. I think that's where there was disagreement on the number 2.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yes.
There was, the majority of the council agreed to a rendering showing property line adjustments. What has not happened is the contract has not been revised in any way to reflect those changes or any others since the contract was entered into. So Mr. Gillis and Ms. Morris on behalf of the town and myself have been communicating about how to revise the original contract on a number of issues, one of those issues being adjustments to the parcel 57 that Mr. Gillis would end up acquiring. Another issue in the contract, and I'm going to stop after this, has to do with the study period. There's a specific study period in the contract. There have been requests for an extension of the study period. Whether that happens and under what conditions that happens have not been resolved.
I agree that there's been a lot of disagreement about there's been a motion to correct the northern boundary. That is the position that I believe the town and the mayor has, but I really think this is not the proper forum to be discussing this, because it is a contractual matter that the mayor is discussing.
We get it, we've heard it.
Yeah,
So
no
what-
other forum.
We have no other forum.
And the
I
mayor's
take it on the
offered
agenda,
and requested him to
Well,
have
I
a meeting.
agree. I agree.
Even if it's not, and I don't know.
I'm
We
trying
just
to-
saved a lot of time and talked about things
Okay.
conceptual. I mean,
For you to conceptually approve our plans, you've got to try to get into our head what why we've come to this property line thing.
Of course, but
So-
we're not approving.
We're not asking you to approve
You
the
want
property
our
line.
direction,
I agree.
continued direction.
So there's a term subject to, you all know that, I know that, I sit on that side of the table, different roles, subject to, as a condition of. So, I mean, I agree with what you're saying, you can't approve that in
I
any
mean,
way.
there's nothing gonna be conditional, it's all.
So that said, so I'm presenting to you evidence of an email I received from Jane Err, has all the council members on it, and also the minutes of the meeting that was held on March the 9th, where it was unanimously approved to adjust the property lines, correcting the roadway alignment was adopted by the following vote. And so I know it's vague, but minutes sometimes can be vague. So what we're here tonight, again, is present with the assumption that these four, first of all, if I were the town, and this, let's focus on item number 2, because item number 4 is a land swap that's already agreed upon. Item number 3 is something we've already agreed upon. Item number 1, I think we've conceptually agreed on that. The issue tonight is item number 2. If I was a town and I had this ribbon of land that was between the public access road and my property, I wouldn't want to own it, because I'm going to be calling the town to cut the grass, do the landscaping. Why would you not want tax income from that item number 2? So it naturally flows with the property, and that's the basis of our site plan presentation tonight. I know that I'm imposing way beyond. I have other exhibits from the Davis, Bone, and Friedel comments, which I think are relative, because I personally think we've met every criteria to be here for a final approval tonight, but we're not asking for that because it hasn't been advertised. But I'm hoping to get on the agenda so that we can do that. So, with that said, I'm going to stop talking for a moment, believe it or not. I have Brock Parker, who has site plans for you to look at tonight. We're excited about this project. Some of our excitement has been diffused as a result of the inability to have communication with the town. And you guys probably hear it just like I do. We're not the only developer that has issues with the process, and we're here hopefully to provide some constructive process flow. We're trying to follow your own published checklist, and we're struggling with that. So you either need to change the checklist or actually implement the checklist, this checklist. So I respect your opinion. I respect Emily's opinion. I disagree with her opinion. We're here to present the site plan that we've worked on, keeping intact. I thought I won Powerball lottery when we received EA Associates approval on the concept stormwater management plan. If you look at this document here, that is item number 3 on your document. So we think we have met the threshold to get to preliminary site plan approval, but we can't get to you guys because we have some discussions or issues with the property line adjustments that, from our point of view, have been approved by the town council. So we received approval from EA Associates.
Are you in agreement that administrative and you guys need to come to an agreement for preliminary before you come to us for that?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because I can't find any way that we could ever build on anything without their blessing.
I agree.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
I'm trying to get on the public record because I can't get on the public record any other way. So we thought on February the 8th that we had won Powerball lottery because we now slide into third base safe because we've met the criteria of the concept stormwater management approval. What we didn't know is that the town had also reached out to Davis, Bone, and Friedel. I'm not going to bore you with this. We have addressed every comment. We met the filing deadline. The filing deadline on response to comments was March 18th at 4 o'clock to meet the deadline to come here tonight for concept approval. We haven't met that because we don't have an application signed by the mayor, even though the town can approve something subject to or on the condition of. So, again, I thought I was going to shut up a minute ago. Brock, can you present the site plan, please?
So these are reduced copies that usually would be in a smaller table than you used to. You guys want to see? I think the first thing to point out is the reason why the parcel 57 discussion has been so rampant tonight is that is the primary reason why we're being forbidden to come for preliminary approval. If you look at these plans at the back of the property, you'll see a triangular portion of property. So the back property line, or the back line of that triangle, is the existing parcel line of parcel 57. The next line closer to the site is the property line that we've proposed. You'll see that both lines are several hundred feet behind anything that we're proposing on this site
It's an
plan.
acre.
So in my regard, in my world, in the civil world, in the planning world, that's, I don't want to say it's irrelevant, because it is relevant, because it determines the boundaries of the property. But with regards to this site plan and your approval tonight, it doesn't really impact, especially considering that this is preliminary. You know, as we mentioned before, you are allowed to give a conditional approval, a subject to approval. I've never had a plat recorded before I'm allowed to come to a preliminary. You know, typically, we should come up to a preliminary approval, subject to working out the lot lines. And again, you see the triangle of the disputed area, an acre, acre and a half, several hundred feet behind our property, behind our disturbance. So that's the end of the parcel 57 discussion. My goal here tonight is to just kind of bring you up to speed on where we have made a few changes to the site plan. In the concept level review that we were here, a couple of months ago, we made a few revisions. We submitted our preliminary plan. We received comments from Davis Bowen and Friedel on the site plan. And we made a host of comments, as their comments were fairly comprehensive. But I'd like to just kind of point you to a couple of changes. I think they've all really resulted in a much better site. Yeah, Mr. Chandler, that's the boundary survey with our property lines shown on it. So, sorry, if I can bounce around on you, sheet 3 is the existing bunting survey that Palmer referred to. If you look at the top left of the page, you'll see the hashed area of the land that we're giving back to the town, the hashed area we're receiving from the town along where the road is, and then that back disputed triangular area between the contract and what the proposing is also shown. But in regards to the site plan, it's probably easiest just to look at the title sheet. We have some much greater detailed plans later on in the set. But basically, some of the comments that DBF wanted us to look at or confirm was the parking, to make sure each use was specifically parked per use, in case we phase it out. We have confirmed that. We've given the necessary notes and numbers and tabulations on the plan. They've asked us to do a formal and a specific lighting and landscaping plan, which we do show on the latter pages. I think it's the last 2 pages of the plan. That lighting and landscaping, I think, is pretty comprehensive. You'll see along the railroad tracks that we made some revisions there to the parking. So we've kind of oriented those parallel. What that has done is allowed us to move our asphalt a little farther away from the railroad track. We're anticipating that to be the rails and trails. So we really wanted to enhance that frontage. We thought it would look a lot better coming in from the town as well from that visual aspect. The town has certain buffer requirements that require landscaping anyway, so it was a pretty easy revision. We've also made some changes to the front parking. DBF pointed out to us that there was a required 20-foot buffer from all roads adjacent to the property. So we've also shifted the parking around, some lost a few spaces there, still in compliance with your parking code. But that's allowed us to get a lot of green space behind the sidewalk and to provide a lot more landscaping than we originally had on the original plan. We didn't have loading spaces on the original plan. We've got those provided now as the long rectangular boxes behind the first 2 buildings. Kindercare will share 2, building 3 will share the second loading space, and the garden center will have its own loading within its own parking lot. The few of the other comments they had was DBF wanted some interconnectivity between the buildings themselves and sidewalks. We've provided that, some connectivity to the walks along the town's future street. We've added some dumpsters, basically a double dumpster per building so that they can have adequate trash collection. And I think the last one we have is we provided community open spaces, community space within each building, or just on the outside of each building. So you'll see building 1 is up on the street, Building 2 is facing the town's road, and Building 3, their community space is behind the building. That's the lighter gray hashed area in each building. What that is a defined area that your code requires to provide seating, benches, landscaping, just a place for, I guess in the old days where you go out and have a smoke, but now it's probably just to go out and sit and just take a breath of fresh air.
Can you point out, I can hear them, I can hear you guys, can you point out where the dumpsters are? That's what you're asking, right?
Well, it looks like there's 2 dumpsters on the front of the building on,
The gray area on
I should say.
the front building?
Yes, so the gray areas, so the community spaces on the buildings are here. Just like.
The gray area is community.
Yes, community space.
So there's bench
Community
seats.
space, yes. If you look at the latter pages, it's a blow up that shows, and again, this is preliminary, so we're gonna have a final design as we go through, but we're thinking benches and some planters and basically a place where.
This is consistent with.
Where's the dumpsters?
They just thought that was dumpsters.
This is
The dumpsters are back along the railroad.
This is consistent with the Worcester County.
Oh, okay.
Design guidelines, which we followed on the North Gate of Ocean Pines, which calls for the community space and benches. You all adopted the Worcester County design guidelines. This is our response to that.
Okay.
So that along the railroad tracks, between building 1 and 2, there's a triple dumpster shared between those two. There's one between building 2 and 3 back there, and they will be in full screened enclosures. And as Palmer said, the stormwater management for this wasn't as difficult as most new sites because this is a redeveloped site. So we met our stormwater management requirements, hence the approval from EA for concept. And it's in the form of some landscape bio retention on the site.
Part of the area that which is part of our parcel, is a forest conservation area. So for statistics, we're trying to retain that portion of it, even though we've given up an acre of it, for the purposes of maintaining the forest conservation and also for impervious surface. So this will be part of a landscape. We will maintain it. We'll have a professional groundskeeper keep this.
That's not part of the garden center?
Well, it can be, but it's just open space at this point. It's open space now. You'll see on your site plan exhibit number 5 that this is just grassed area, which we will maintain and keep as pervious surface and open surface. Brock, I interrupted you. Have you gotten to this yet?
Yes. Gotten to this, Palmer mentioned, is the 20-foot buffer along the main road coming in. So you'll see all of our asphalt, all of our parking is a minimum of 20 feet away from the right-of-way of the road. On the landscaping plans, you'll see that we're taking advantage of that with some pretty heavy buffers, heavy landscaping along the road. So that's the crux of the main. There's some other nitpick notes and coordination things that EVF pointed out, but they had a fairly comprehensive list that we revised, all the site plans, did the reports and everything, and we resubmitted back to the town. The plans that we resubmitted to the town, we adjusted a little bit just to show the buffers, but for all intents and purposes, this is the same or better plan that you guys saw and that the town currently has. That being said, that's the site and stormwater management of the project. I think Scott's group has some pretty pictures of the building and how it's going to look, colors, shape, orientation.
I'll try to be brief. I think I have the easiest job here tonight.
Pretty pictures.
Pretty pictures. So I think you're all familiar with the building. Used to be the old poultry processing plant. One large building. We are now dealing with 2 kind of freestanding portions of that building. One portion of the building has been taken down. So what we are doing, there's the building along the street, and then there's a building in the interior of the parking lot. The building along the street, we are conceptually proposing some type of commercial or business use to be determined. And the building on the interior of the parking lot will be a medical office building that Mr. Gillis is working with the client on right now. So the buildings themselves, as they stand, are fairly large, so in accordance with the town's design guidelines, we are trying to bring down the massing of these buildings by using some architectural tricks like lowering portions of the roof, raising other portions, providing some projections on the front of the buildings, obviously creating a lot more windows that are currently in the building, and using masonry products for the building's exterior. Again, the colors, the materials, the massing is all being done in accordance with the town's design guidelines. And again, these are all conceptual. Obviously, we'll have a refined material palette, color palette, once we get to that point. But this is where we stand with things right now.
Okay, so what has to happen from administrative, what has to happen for this gentleman to move forward?
Can I answer that?
He's on the agenda. This is a violation of the Open Meetings Act. He shouldn't even be presenting from my legal
It's
perspective.
consulting.
I understand.
There's no action that can be
He's
taken
on
by
the
this
agenda
meeting.
for, with the council?
He's not on the agenda for this meeting tonight. And
I understand
it's a
that.
violation of the
I
Open Meetings
understand.
Act, so you have no authority to make any action.
We're not doing any action. I'm just saying,
I'm sorry.
from the administrative office,
Uh-huh.
for him to move forward, what has to happen?
Well, he at minimum has to be a sign off of the owner of the property, which hasn't happened.
He's got a contract.
He has a contract, but he
Yeah.
doesn't have a sign off on the actual drawings. He's designed it on a property that he admitted is in contention. And it's been an issue, he's aware of that. He's been sent a letter saying that, so he shouldn't be speaking right now.
Can I respond to that question?
Chairman,
We can't define the parcel. We've been trying to meet on, there's some environmental issues which are sensitive, where they recorded MDE document in 2005. I learned today, talking to our mutual consultant, EA Associates, that there's been, I haven't had time to digest it, but there's a further thing that denies use of healthcare facilities, but it allows medical offices. It also disallows recreational areas. The question, which is that, is the park a recreational area? Is the skateboard park a recreational area? I think there's some further definition, which I just learned of today, that was created in 2016, that creates a discussion that goes to frequency of use, low, medium, and high frequency of use. So the MDE has certain guidelines that EA Associates is working through. They're the ones I've hired to do my environmental audit phase 1. But I've been attempting to discuss the plat and the property line adjustments since November 18th. And Mr. Parker here can provide the plat pretty quickly. Woody Bunny can provide the plat pretty quickly. We've been waiting for a plat from the administration's office through Davis, Bowe, and Fidel now for almost 5 months. So I can't get to you guys until there's resolution on the plat, but if I can't get a meeting with the administration to discuss the plat, and keep in mind, we brought this to the mayor and city council on March the 9th, 2026. We're under the assumption that they've approved it by the evidence that I gave you. So we believe that all 3 property line adjustments are already approved. She
Mr.
agreed.
Miller, this is not the proper forum, according to you, why can't you get this gentleman in the proper forum to resolve these issues?
We actually, he's been offered to be on the agenda on Monday.
Agenda for the council?
In front of the council on April
Okay.
13th.
Okay.
And he's, I believe, not going to be in town. So, I don't know what's happening on April 13th, but he has been given opportunity for this to be resolved on Monday. And so I don't know why he's bringing it up today.
Because I've been asking since November 18th to sit down and resolve the plat. And you have an obligation and a duty to work in good faith to provide a plat. And there's no excuse, ask the civil engineer, this guy has an engineering department. As well, I work with Davis, Bowe, and Fidel, I've been working with them since it was Davis, Fidel, Don Bowen, whatever. They can produce a plat. For whatever reason, the town can't produce a plat. And we can produce a plat. These guys are commodities. I'm sorry, Barack. These guys are commodities. They're surveyors. They're professional
I know what they
engineers.
are, I know what they are. And
They can do it.
I can assure you there's nobody, I mean, you're dealing with one of the premier developers on the eastern shore of Maryland, right there. And he's done more than you'll ever think of doing. And this is called, you guys got to realize this costs applicants thousands, hundreds of thousands sometimes worth of dollars trying to get this done. There's no dragging the feet. There's no dragging the feet on this. You should accommodate these people that have, if they have a piece of land in this town and they have the zoning, the issues need to be, your job is to help them, not butt heads with them. And your job is to accommodate them when you can. I'm not saying break the rules, but accommodate them. And as you know as a lawyer, time is of the essence. And this costs people, I mean, this man here, you know, he don't work for peanuts, and neither do these guys. And it's maddening when you can't get something done. Clock's ticking on the project. I mean, you gotta put the shoes on these people sometimes and do the best you can to accommodate them and help them out.
I appreciate this comment.
And I'm gonna
I
say,
understand that's your, like, I appreciate your feedback and I understand that. I think that this is not something that is appropriate to address to me. And I think that there have been some misrepresentations
okay.
that I don't feel are necessary for me to correct right now. Because again, this is not the proper discussion.
I understand that, but
And
let's
he's welcome to come to
get
the meeting on Monday.
let's get him in the forum, let's sit down, and let's
Yeah.
resolve these issues, so this gentleman can move forward, because he's getting ready to turn the shithole into a nice looking project, and this town needs that.
These folks know that we're out of town for 3 weeks for a trip we've had planned forever. They had all the time in the world for 5 months to put us on the agenda, and they had done nothing to that point. So I don't even know what we're on the agenda for. Mr. Cropper can speak on my behalf that Monday night, but are we on the agenda for the extension? Are we on the agenda for the property line adjustments? What are we on, what are you saying we're on the
I don't
agenda
know
for? Because I didn't even know we weren't even gonna be on tonight's meeting until just a few days ago, when Mr. Humphreys came into Ryan's office and said, Mr. Gillis doesn't know he's on the meeting. Well, nobody's told me we're not on the meeting tonight. I'm sorry. I got this summary of his meeting. I got more stuff here if you want.
Mark notified them a month ago that we will be out of town on Sunday for 3 weeks, and we had all the time between now and then to try to meet with them, and they waited until Monday to put us.
There's absolutely no excuse to have a pre-meeting meeting instead of having a public meeting so we can come to a consensus ahead of time. That's inexcusable. I mean, I've dealt with a lot of jurisdictions and a lot of communities and a lot of cities, every one of them on Delmarva, and the process, the administration is not dysfunctional, it's non-functional. If I were the mayor of a small, great town, I would be walking across glass barefooted to get this project implemented on the tax rolls and receive $1.2 million. We're not asking for a price adjustment. We're not asking for a price adjustment. We're giving up a little bit over 10% effectively of our property. We're not asking for a price adjustment. What's missing in all of this is, and if you accept some stress in my voice, we have a deadline with an administration that will not work with us for 5 months. And I have a deadline of April 20th, and I've got hundreds of thousands of dollars into this project, and I can't meet with a damn mayor to discuss the flats. That's inexcusable. So everything we're doing here tonight is at risk. But honestly, if it gets to that point, and if they put these conditions on an extension of only providing adjustments for the one property line and not the comprehensive, I don't want to keep going back to the city council, the town council. I want to do it comprehensively. I want to do it one time instead of 3 or 4 times. So with that said, I think it's completely, I don't know what the term is, I'm sure one of you guys can, but it's ironic that all of a sudden I'm going to be put on the April 13th agenda after having asked for it for 4 months. Then they know we're out of town. How convenient is that? It's another delay tactic, in my opinion. But anyway.
Well, within the bailiwick of our jurisdiction, the extent exists for public comment tonight. I like your project.
We feel like we've complied with everything.
Have
Is there
Mark goes to the meeting
anything?
Monday night. I'm leaving for Florida myself, and the crap always hits the fan when you're trying to get out.
Exactly.
It's just the
And
way-
this happened, the same thing happened, I'm glad Emily brought this up, because David Gaskell and Mark Cropper had a contract almost completed for the land disposition agreement. Zach brought Emily in, and that in 4 months, while we're in Egypt, is the deadline to put the contract together. And so Sandy and I are working off of our cell phones and an iPad to go through the contract, to go meet with Mark so we get the contract signed. So I mean, it's very convenient that we're out of town on April the 13th.
I don't think that's fun.
Anyway,
Hopefully
so I would like,
somebody's trying to get you to where you need to.
I challenged the mayor to meet me because I think he has put me off over 20
Set up
times.
for Monday was what I'm hearing, right?
Well,
Come
I,
on.
we're gone,
With the council.
we're gone.
Yeah, she'll have Mark there, or somebody.
So with that said, what we presented to
Mark's not
you.
coming?
It was news to me, I just heard it 5 minutes ago, so.
Mark's
going
It's
somewhere
not
now,
true.
too.
There's
Don't
been
miss the
emails
opportunity
since,
to move
like,
it.
weeks ago.
Oh, we got
April
plenty of
13th.
emails.
And honestly, I did not know that you were gone. I literally, we knew you were leaving town on the 11th, and I kept asking how long, and there was no response to that.
So-
Either way, this isn't the
Yeah,
form.
it's not the
Yeah.
form, but
It's
it's-
personal.
There's a lot of miscommunication.
So your point, Matt, to your
Yes.
point, Mr. Chairman, we would like input again from the commission members, maybe going through the room. Is there anything on this drawing, assuming the mayor and council will come to agreement with us on the property line adjustments? And keep in mind too, that if that doesn't work, we can adjust to that, but just give us a chance to have that discussion. Is there any comments on what we presented
Whether
tonight?
we can speak from a council perspective or not, I used to live right across the street from this.
Mhm.
I would love to see your project go through.
Thank
The
you.
concept is
I would as well.
beautiful. I think it looks really good. I think for years, people who've lived in town have looked at that property and said, what the hell's the town gonna do with this piece of property? It would look great. I think there's some little things we could adjust, but as a concept, I think it looks great. I don't know there's much we can say beyond that
Well,
tonight.
that's what we're doing a consensus.
Sure.
So,
I'm for it.
okay.
Eric, I
And-
know there was issues with the streetscaping.
And I apologize, we meant to bring that alternative plan that for the outdoor area between the building edge and we did not bring that tonight. We had an associate with Scott's that was in an automobile accident today, and that drawing is not being presented tonight. But we did address your comments and thoughts. We were just reluctant to present it.
You know what, like, you kind of did, just
Well, we were assuming a restaurant or something more lively, and we had outdoor dining areas, basically, with heavy landscaping, some nice wrought iron fencing, brick columns, blah, 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 to give a really control, because the liquor board is going to require controlled outdoor space. So we would have fencing in there, but it was very ornamental and very, very beautiful. We will bring that, I apologize, we will bring that, if we ever get to preliminary site plan approval, we will bring that to you. Eric, did you have any comments on this?
Because I'm being put on the spot.
Well, let's point out.
To be fair, I'm not going to provide comment
Okay.
because I provide comment when I have a couple days to look at
Okay.
things.
Okay.
These are architectural drawings.
All right. Well, these are the same that we presented in January. So I appreciate that, respect that. Dirk, you have anything? Pete?
Looking good.
Newt?
I don't think you'll find a soul in town that doesn't want that place fixed up.
You do have one, Zach.
Well, when I,
Sorry.
I know that when people hear that you're gonna do the project, they have full faith and confidence that it'll be first class. And I'm for it.
Matt, I appreciate your comments. Matt, do you have any comments? on
No,
this?
like I said, my discussions and allowance of you talking was to try and get this ball going forward.
Okay, I
This is
appreciate that.
obviously probably not correct, not right, not anything, but as I told you, I'm shocked that you're hanging on and you're the one. And if you want, I don't know what the town does with this.
I'm shocked. And I- go
And if
ahead.
we don't get the unconditional extension by April 20th, then it's not gonna happen.
We have to
We're
terminate.
done.
No, I get it, that's my fear. I know you're spending money left and right on this.
We have to terminate. And I'm not going to be extorted, I'm not going to be put in a corner of only looking at one property line adjustment. We've had 5 months to talk about these property line adjustments. It's inexcusable to not have a closed-door meeting with their engineer, which we're disallowed to talk to. I appreciate the forum tonight and allowing us to speak.
Is there any other comments from the public? To really maximize your usage tonight?
This is a project we did in Easton. These were existing buildings, and I'm just going to give you some eyewash here. This is the University of Maryland Medical Systems and DaVita and Talbot County Health Department. Please feel free to ride up there and take a look at it. We can make this building a great project for the town of Berlin. Do you have anything to say, Mark?
I would just suggest if you are unable to make it Monday, this is the first I've heard of this issue. You could make it publicly known that maybe people in town would speak on your behalf. I know
Okay.
that would go.
Well, all we're trying to do is extend the contract. This gentleman here has
Right.
asked us since December 29th to extend the contract Emily and David Gaskell have advised, I have those emails too, that the mayor could extend them without council approval. He won't do it. He's adding the one condition of the one property line. I'm not looking to adjust one property line. I'm looking to do it comprehensively. And you're going to want me to own that 0.35 acres, that ribbon of land. So when you see the grass not cut, I'm going to be the one that's going to cut it. Well, I won't be, but somebody will be. Blair Carey cut it or somebody, but you don't want to own that 0.3. There's no common sense involved in that. Thank you for your time, folks.
I just had two other small things. Brian, with the upcoming Berlin solar project that's going to be across from Sunrise, I just wanted to confirm that that is going to have a site plan approval from the planning commission.
Yes,
That they will come in front of us.
they will need to.
Okay, perfect. And then the timelines that we discussed last meeting.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.
About, like the 30-day window or however the process went. I don't know how you guys feel. I kind of thought we just talked about it and really didn't come up with a decision.
Oh, I thought we were all on board.
Yeah, I thought, like, I don't know where you guys stand, but I kind of felt like it still needs some tweaking. I do think, you guys need time, at the same time, developers need to be given some sort of window. And this isn't from a Palmer request or a Troy. This is just thinking about it. If I'm submitting for a project, I'd like to know that, within 45 days, 30 days, or whatever it is, I'm getting a response. I think the open-ended window isn't fair to
It definitely needs to
developers.
be tweaked a little more with, once the town receives it, we have X amount of days to
I was
respond.
going to say, I think it went both ways, because if I heard the conversation with Troy and you really got the plan on Monday. The one that he wanted us to.
Yeah, the
We
last
just got
piece,
Monday.
Monday.
That's not enough time, and it's just like Eric was saying here, with Palmer were coming with this, and I don't think this was the right forum, but you can't bring it to, this is what happened with Troy. He brought documents to that meeting, and they were not submitted to anybody beforehand.
Right.
He walks up there and shows them, and then tonight we're all going, oh yeah, we believe him, those are the ones he put up there.
Mhm.
I think legally they have to go to public comment too, right? You can't submit something new during a meeting, right?
Right now, that's what we're, so I think it's not just how much time it takes you to review it, it's how much time they need to get it to us, and we stick to it, and if you don't, you don't. And I understand that's hard, right? And I understand there's a lot of wheels moving that make things get where they are. But that doesn't change us humanly to be able to look at it.
Yeah, it's just not feasible. Like I said before, they're technically applying to be on a certain date. So
Right.
the deadline is 1 month before that. So that only leaves maybe 2 weeks for review, and it could go back and forth.
Okay.
What if it needs revisions? It should start over then.
I understand. I'll give you another one on time things. And Emily, I said this before, and I'm not busting on you because I feel your pain. But we can't get legal opinions the night we show up in here to make a
I understand.
decision. We don't have time to read them. It's not looking at plans and whatever. And then your mind's all going here, and then you're hearing what they're saying and whatever.
And that's
We
the
just-
problem
we-
with
we-
the 30-day deadline. Everything is so rushed at the last minute.
But we need that beforehand.
Absolutely.
We need to know that
Yes,
legal.
yes.
Just like Palmer showing up tonight and whatever, and he's called all of us in this room. All of us, not just sitting up here. And I understand his frustration. I do not understand our mayor. We don't have any authority to tell him what to do. How do you tell him that he can't do this? He's got to meet with these people. Whether you like Palmer, or you like Troy, or you don't like him, these are the people that will develop this town correctly. And I don't agree with the setbacks that he had on there, and I think it was a mistake. I don't think it was looked at. I think it was on the plan, but we're stuck with it. Just like Nat said, maybe we didn't look at all. Maybe we should be better and look at that kind of stuff. But I don't believe Troy's lying. I think that's the plans. They look like once me and they were beat up enough to look like they were there. But you understand, it's tough.
Yeah.
And you saw the frustration on both of them. These men were angry, and they're angry at us. And we're like, whoo, we're doing what we can do. So it gets deflected on you all. I mean, And I don't know how you do that, but I know one thing, you have the mayor's ear more than we do, and you need to explain to the mayor what we just heard. I don't know what his political aspirations are, but he ain't getting any votes in this room.
And to your point, there's a lot of money in it. So like,
Yeah.
we're talking about put out a new comp plan. We're
Yeah.
gonna de-incentivize developers from coming in and building out the town the way we want.
Already happened. I can tell you from my standpoint, I represent the Wawa, I can tell you Rhinedown, and all that, and Heaton, whatever. They are telling people they wouldn't develop in Berlin. Too much problem to deal with the administration.
If both of those guys,
Can I get your name for the record?
Ron Cassio, Walnut Hill, if both of them, neither one of those guys was who they are, they're an out-of-town guy, we would be spending a lot of money on lawyers.
Yep. We still might be.
But, I mean, that's where we are. Those guys have patience, and, you know, they would be suing the town if they didn't have a personal interest in doing their projects.
Well, I know you all think we pick on you, I pick on you, but a guy like Palmer Gillis, man, you know he's going to hit the home run. You need to do everything, even if you've got to walk into the mayor's office and say, listen, mayor, we have to address this, or give him some prod or something. I mean, because you all weren't here when that place was Hudson's Foods, and it smelled like it would knock a bucket off a shit wagon if the wind was right in town. I mean, I've seen all this stuff, and that is a major improvement over there, a major improvement, and it should happen if he walks. You know, for these minor technicalities, and I know you don't think they're minor. I know you're.
I don't necessarily think they're minor. I think that there's a lot of context that is not being, that you're not being given.
We have one side.
And I think that, especially with respect to the property lines, that he is not being honest, because there was agreement on the northern property line, and that was officially done. He never specifically said that he was looking also for that little strip, and that's never been voted on, as I just said.
That town only giving that freaking strip at me.
And we offered that to be a discussion at the April 13th meeting.
This guy's going to come in here. This guy's going to come in here, and his investment is going to be upwards of
But he's
$10
not
million.
being honest. He's saying that this has been going on since November. That is incorrect. He has literally never asked for that until the last 2 weeks.
That project will be a $25 million project, and I mean, if you stick to the nuts and bolts of it, like whoever said it, I mean, that's tax dollars. That's tax dollars. And commercial tax dollars are the best tax dollars, because you haven't got to do any goods and services. Maybe a cop wheels through there once in a while, you know. And so it's not costing nothing. It's a win-win.
Mm-hmm.
So he should be accommodating. And I don't mean kiss his ass, but I mean do what you can to move it along and give him, you know, help him out. I mean, this.
How do you get to the mayor?
Can I ask a side thing, or in regard to the way we operate, and I know we've been talking a little bit about that, and it's come up before and we haven't done it again, but I think what would alleviate a lot of this is planning commission, mayor and council meetings, which we have not had a single one.
What do you suggesting?
Like a joint meeting between planning commission and council, and the only one since I have been on planning commission that has been a joint meeting between council and planning commission has been for that ADU discussion a couple of months ago.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
You know, then you know, it should almost be assumed that we're in separate vacuums. You know, people come in here, you know, related to a project like that, assuming that we know their dealings with the mayor and council. You know, and like I said, none of that should have been brought up tonight. You know, but all of us should have probably been totally privy to everything beforehand if there was mayor and council, planning commission. And don't we want to give off the image that planning commission and mayor and council are all on the same team?
Yeah, I don't know
how to get that to happen.
That's a constructive feedback thing, so I will pass that on.
Well, you seem to have the mayor's here, so get her done.
I mean, I can only do so much.
Right.
Like, you know, there's a lot of things that are being misconstrued, and I know that there's probably perceptions on both sides, and it's really not fun to be in the middle of it all. So.
And it's tough. You're right. We do always hear one side, and it's very hard to take it and remember, oh, well, you know, I'm sure there's here and there's here, and the truth is always here. And when they present, they want us all one way, and then
Yeah.
when we talk with you, it's all one way. I'm not saying either of you are lying,
Yeah.
but the perception and what it probably is somewhere in the middle. And it's tough when they're just here talking for 20 straight minutes with their issues.
Well, I can assure you, Palmer Gillis isn't one to cut the line like he did tonight. He's frustrated and angry. I mean, he don't do that. I mean, he's a gentleman, and he don't, but for him to come in here and do what he just did, he's at the end of the rope.
I understand. I don't make the decisions,
But you can influence the one that does.
She
All right.
tried.
Well, Ryan, can we just sort of, we don't need to do it tonight, but the next meeting, can we talk about the project timelines? Just have further discussion on it. Not saying we need to go back to the old way or anything, just,
Yeah.
I'd like to
I would like
further.
to not go back to the old way, but I understand it needs more clarification for
So,
sure.
yeah, and if you could put your thoughts, because you deal with the flow of operations, that way we can sit behind it and then, kind of soak it in.
Yeah.
That'd be really helpful.
I know this sounds crazy that you would write but when the applicants, do we write anything to them that specifically says that it's not in by that date? It is not in at the hearing, period.
Like-
Do not bring us new stuff at the hearing. If it's not in the packet, it's not for us to hear. We can say, folks, keep it. We don't want to look at it. It's not in the packet.
It just seems to be practice, we don't accept anything. I think that's
Well-
been the problem in the past, they have accepted things at the meeting and it
That's
doesn't
what
get in
happened
the
in the
record.
meeting with Joy just showed
And
you.
this is exactly what
Exactly
happened.
what happened. He gets up and
This
shows
is the
you.
example of that. He probably presented something at the meeting.
Well, that was-
It's not in the
that
record.
that
If it
part
was in the
of
record, it would be on the
That's
video.
Very hard to do this, guy.
Yeah, no.
He had what they didn't have. and
I
that
know,
was-
but the point is, nobody had the chance to review it, and that's why nobody saw the 5x5. Because you get up there and play it, he's talking about that whole meeting, there was not one word talked about setback, all he talked about is he regrading the road and lot 9, traffic going by.
But he was on the plans that we weren't shown. He
I know,
He
but-
presented those plans. But
At the meeting.
just as Mark Cropper said, it's not our job to go through that line by line and every lot line and setback and discuss all that. If we look at the thing and we have questions, we present it, we ask our questions, that's up to staff to make sure,
They
and
didn't
bring that
have
to our
it.
attention if they don't like it.
You and I are on the same page, dude, but the point I'm making is, they didn't have it to have the opportunity to do that, he brought it up and laid it up on the, dice the day of the hearing.
Right, it's a paperwork issue.
It's a paper, no, you gotta have it, they have to have time to review it to tell us that these setbacks are not good.
Anytime
There's the
review,
court we
you guys
lose,
need
right?
time to look
Yeah,
at it.
but
You lose the court, we lose.
On
right?
his,
Yep.
on his word, he said he'd given it to him. You call that a lie?
It's not a record that he did. I wasn't here, I don't know.
And
We
it's not in the
can't know.
file.
We can't-
It's
It's
not
not
in
in
the
the file.
file.
If it was in the
If it was in the
file,
file.
that means he gave it to us. You saw the entire packet. It was not in the packet.
I mean, look, we had,
Well, that should have been a record
Record-keeping
issue.
issues.
Yeah, it's a record keeping.
and we know that, we're working past that. We're not going back to 2021 and fix this magically. We are where we are, but you guys have really fixed a lot of the record-keeping issues, and I think in general, we've been moving forward without these problems. I know what you're saying, where if they're gonna hand something to us, at minimal, we should have it that Thursday before, whenever we get the packet, at minimal,
I disagree. It's,
Yeah.
the staff has
They
to
have
have
to
the
see
time
it.
to review
They
it
gotta
so
see
they
it.
can make comments to us.
Yeah.
It's not just
So
for us
it's
all
further
to see
back,
it.
you can
Right,
bring it further back, yeah.
we all have
I
jobs and
can't
whatever.
believe that,
I don't care what the timeline
I
is.
can't
You
believe
can
that
take all the
doc
time.
was not filed and it was in our file somewhere. I mean, that's what he's asking for, approve this
Yeah.
plan. We just lost it, is what I think.
I say, take all the time you need. If you need them, I say back that submittal up to all the time you need. I'm with you. I got your back on that. But stick to the timeline and get it done. If you can't, you're gonna, then you might have to make an exception, tell them you can't, we didn't have time to do everything, but especially if it's a big project. But back your timeline up that gives you enough time that you're comfortable coming to these meetings with that and with.
30 days is not enough
Well,
time.
then back it up.
Yeah, but I think we do need a number. I
Yeah, yeah.
I
You got-
just
they gotta
think
know.
it's
They
fair
gotta-
to
It
develop.
should be similar to like when they submit stormwater. They
They
submit
gotta
on
know.
this day. They have 30 days, let's say, 45 days to review it and provide a comment.
But you got to
It should
send
be
it,
something
you
like
got to
that.
send it to all the departments.
And the comments
right?
might go back and they might need to revise a few
Right.
things.
Yeah.
It could go back and forth.
Separate-
30 days
separate.
is not enough time.
No, we
Back
had
it up.
this
Take
discussion before.
60 days. We don't care. Just let them
But
know.
putting an actual date on it like that is still, it could go back several times.
Should be at least two numbers. I know a lot of municipalities work with, you get an estimated time for when you're getting comment back
Yes.
from town staff, and then revision requests, and then by the time you submit, if you fulfill all those revision
Mhm.
requests, then you have
Would
to
go on the
be in
next
before
meeting.
time to be in. before
The next
Yes.
meeting, but 2 weeks after, because you have to advertise it,
You have
right?
to advertise.
So if you hit at the wrong time, it's almost 3 days.
Exactly.
And I will
Nothing for
say
that.
that a lot of times, the amount of time it takes to get from an application to an actual meeting depends on the quality of the plans that the town receives. There are professionals, consultants who work for the developers who will know the code and go through it and comply. And there are ones who just throw anything together, and then it comes to town, and there are major code compliance issues, which means now it's delayed getting to you because it's not appropriate.
Well, in that case, I would say that somebody, a shade tree draftsman, oh, sorry, Ron, but, that you would have to explain it to them when they handed it in, say, listen, this is not what we can work with. You have to either get a land planner or whatever you are, and get them to draw it up professionally. I mean, the lines and dots gotta, make sense. He just can't bring you in a sketch or something they've done in art class or something, and say, we can't work with this. You have to go back and get a professional to do it. I mean, you should not be expected to have to cipher their drawings out or whatever they brought to you. I mean, you have that.
Professionals will submit
Right.
these things, and
Some of them
they
are.
get sent back.
That's common, that's
Well,
common
can you
sense.
say-
Never one
Can you
time
say-
has something been submitted and it's like, oh, it's perfect. We'll
Can-
send it through to you. It goes back several times.
Can't you say we're not going to advertise until it meets the code? Which is what you-
Absolutely, yes.
Right.
And then we get pushed back because there has been previously a submittal 30 days prior to a planning commission
Yeah, but-
meeting to get on a
Well,
particular meeting.
we'll have you back if that's your problem.
Yeah,
I mean, we're
And the way
stick with
that
you.
I think
We're on
we
your side
get to
with
that point is that you guys develop rules and rules of how you want it to be operated. So you want it to be, a notice.
Do we have that authority?
Yeah,
Yes.
yes, you have the
Yes,
right to
yeah.
do the rules and regulations, and it's something that I've been wanting to talk about, but we keep getting distracted
Well, that's why
and
you
sucked
said to put
into
it on
these
the
other
agenda next
issues, and we
Yeah, I
haven't
wanna
been
talk
able to
about the-
address that real issue.
I'd like to have it on the agenda.
Yeah.
And like I said, I really think you guys, because you're in it. We're really not. You guys are in it. What you would like for us to review. Not this, we're saying we're going to disagree with you. Put it on paper. Because I don't really know everything that ties into how many emails go back and forth. And there's a checklist, but they sent you a stormwater plan that isn't approved, so that restarts the clock. I don't understand enough to talk intelligently about it. Just that I'm trying to find a more concrete timeline to an extent.
Yeah,
get
no, I
your
agree.
point.
They need a date that they're gonna get a response by.
Well, the bigger the project, the more
100%.
time you're gonna need. So if you got a huge project coming, you're gonna have to back that way up. So the times can change depending on the size of the project and how complicated it is.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Personally, that's reasonable for you to do that. If they're telling people, said, listen, this is a huge
What-
project. And I think, don't you have to send all those drawings to each department and to sign off on and stuff?
Well, it really depends on what it is. Like on the
Yeah, it depends on the
PUD, it's like
complexity
you're
of
not
it.
going to any other department, like this PUD situation, it's just.
I thought you had to send all that to the electric department to
No,
sign
none
off.
of that goes to that. It's a planning, it's a zoning overlay that you all
Okay.
approve, and so it's just goes straight through.
Okay.
So it should be tiered, yes, as you were saying, we'll endeavor to get back to you in a certain number of days, business days from receipt with comments, and then the clock starts over again when you resubmit.
And the key being is when they submit, if it's not professional, if it's a big project and if it's not professionally done, and something you can work with, says, listen, this is not acceptable, you gotta go back and resubmit this in a way that we can deal with it and the planning commission can see it. But because, you have that right to do that, and you should be doing it. You should
Yeah,
have
we
to-
do. We do that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we want to make sure it's good before we put it in front of you guys. But I've listened to videos from the past where I've heard somebody say, what are we here for? I want to make it clear on the agenda, we're here for preliminary approval of this, final approval of this, not just throw some crap together and let you guys look at it.
Or we want to do
We
both
want it
tonight.
clear.
I love that one. We're going to do it both tonight. We are.
Any other
Can I say
comments?
something? Sorry, I've been quiet and I'm getting worked up a little bit here. I think it's been clear over the last couple of months in particular, if not longer, that improvement in the process of things needs to be changed. We need to correct a lot of things that may not have been done the right way in the past. And as somebody on the behalf of town staff, I can assure you that we all have the best intentions when we come before you in these meetings.
We never had any doubt about that.
I know that, but we as town staff, I do feel like publicly we have been under a microscope with stuff. And I'm just asking for anybody listening, for you guys, we are working our butts off, and just ask for a little grace as we work through these tough times, because we really do have the best intentions and want to put before you things that you guys review and can vote on with your best efforts in mind at these meetings. So just we appreciate you guys, and just please know that we are really, really working hard to fix wrongs that may need to have been improved on in the past. Just
It's obvious
please.
that changes need to be made from how was previously done. And we might need to, when we make a change, it might not work. Try it out, we might need to adjust again. But changes definitely need to be made.
Well, I can only tell you that there's, how many are in that planning office right now? What's that girl that sits in the back there? What does she do?
GIS.
What is that?
Mapping, basically.
Don't get me started. Don't get started.
We never had none of that.
It's a new position.
Okay, right,
Yeah.
so then now we got you, and we got code enforcement, which I like code enforcement.
Okay.
We needed that.
Okay.
But there's 4 or 5 people in that planning office, and poor little Dave, I don't know how he did it. And he probably
Carolyn.
did. He probably did some things wrong,
I tried to get.
but it all worked out, and most of the time, everybody was pretty happy.
But did it work out?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
What didn't work out? Give me an example.
Can I, Brian
A
and I
lot of
had-
projects that are coming forward now
The
that
reason we're here
are a
tonight.
complete mess.
The reason we're here tonight is
Yeah.
because they didn't do their private
Exactly.
work right.
This is a prime example of that.
Ryan and I talked about this, and this is what I'm addressing, because you are getting hit hard. You're the ones, I mean, it's like, you're the president, or you're the whatever, you're gonna get it. The mayor, I don't get the mayor, but whatever. This is what I want to just say, and I talked to Ryan about it. Communication, communication, communication. If you're having a problem, if it's gonna take longer, talk to them. If you get a decision from somebody, give it to them. It doesn't need the package, just let them know that you're working on it. That's what they need to know. I have some corporate clients that I send emails that basically say nothing other than, I thought about you today. You know, but you send it to them because they need that, because then that's got to go to their boss, go to the next guy, to go to the next guy. That's perceived.
Received.
And so that's, received, but that's, I think that's one thing, if you do that, that helps, because you saw his frustration. I can't get a meeting, I brought this to you, you don't do this, whatever. Write them, I got it, I'm sending it, it's good, we'll take a while, I'll get it back to you as soon as I get, that's all you need to do, one line, boom, let them know that you're live and doing it.
I don't know what's going on that end, but on my end, it's not just sitting on my desk.
No, I
I
understand,
know,
but you
and you're
gotta
saying,
take,
I
you
know,
gotta
we've
take
talked about
time to
this.
talk to them.
Reach out,
And
because there's a
listen,
lot of
the way we did
projects
stuff
going
with
on,
Dave,
and
I
it's.
told you this, the way
yeah.
we did stuff with Dave, and everybody's got used to that, is we went in and we sat down at his desk, and everybody sat in the room, you jam all in there, we couldn't even hardly move, and we sit there and talk, Dave say no, or yeah, okay, or we can do this, or do this, I can make that happen. And we'd work it out.
We were all a team.
Right, we walked out, everybody knew what they had to do. You didn't get what you wanted every time, but whatever, but you knew what you had to do, and we went forward. And I think it's just communication. It helps, whatever.
All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I got everyone standing up.